when much is given, much is required.
Yep.
And, if our community is going to give us the pleasure and honor of being in business by using our services, we want to give back. It just is a reciprocal relationship. We can't just keep taking.
It's a delight to see their faces and that, like they're going to live comfortably through the winter with some heat and some hot water. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's Todd and Elaine Damschen of Mainstream Home Services in Spokane, Washington. And they are this amazing husband and wife team who believe, like so many of our other successful partners, that they are part of something much bigger than themselves. This is actually a common thread that we found in successful service companies, and that's why we have them on our show today. This is the Localprenuer Show, where we share the conversations our agency has with the local service companies that have determined to make a difference. They aren't just good at what they do, but more importantly, they set out intentionally to impact their local communities as well as their own team members, and they do it in big ways. As entrepreneurs, they aren't only building their businesses, they also are reaching into their communities and their people and producing really incredible things. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. Before we jump into this conversation, Todd, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, how you got started in this business, and Elaine will come to you next.
I'm Todd Damschen. I'm owner, founder, and CEO of Mainstream Electric, Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Now we go by Mainstream Home Services because we cover, pretty much all the comfort systems in the home. And we've been in business for over 21 years now. And just within a few short years of owning our business, I brought my lovely wife, Elaine, into the business to help me out.
That's when it really took off. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, there's no question. Yeah. Like it was a shot in the arm for sure to help out because I just couldn't do it all anymore. I was the book, the E-Myth, that was me.
Oh man. Yeah.
And her processes and her coming to help me out freed me up to actually spend more time in the field to grow our business. And I couldn't be up till midnight anymore doing the books, bidding jobs, rounding up material, loading trucks. It just got to the point where I could not do it anymore. Like I went as long as I could. I pulled my hair out and went some more. And to the point where I basically begged her to help me out.
Yeah.
Todd's being a little shy because he did spend 10 years in the Idaho National Guard.
Okay.
Which is a branch of the U.S. Air Force.
That's
and
awesome.
He did troubleshoot the radar system on the Wild Weasel fighter jet, the F-4. So when it was time for him to get out of the military, he actually had a mentor say, Todd, you should become an electrician because a lot of the skills that you learned on the airplane is what you learned in electrical school. So that was the seed that got him into the trades, was his time with the Air Force.
Elaine, I can already tell what you add to the business because you just swooped in there to add to what Todd was saying without even introducing yourself. So now take a breath, come back and introduce yourself. We want to know who you are and how you got started. Well, I know how you got started because Todd spilled the beans on that, but let's hear your version.
Sure. Well, my name's Elaine Damschen. So I am president of Mainstream Electric Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing here in beautiful Spokane, Washington. And in my first life, I was actually a middle school teacher, and I taught middle school for 8 years. And kind of between school teaching down in southern Idaho and moving back home into northern Idaho and Coeur d'Alene, I had taken a part-time job as a bank teller.
Yeah.
And during that time is when Todd had a discovery of, I'm going to become an electrician. So he pretty much did things on his own for about 18 to 24 months, and he just could not do it anymore. And he truly did beg me into the business. And at that time we'd had our daughter, and he's like, you can come join the business and be a stay-at-home mom. I laughed because that didn't happen. She was in daycare within a few months. But so I did come on board originally and truthfully as the enslaved wife. And but over time, just really fell in love with the skilled trades. And at that time we were electrical. So
Yep.
we've done electrical for 15 years and we added HVAC 6 years ago and plumbing 5 years ago. And that's really when our business has taken off.
Thank you for telling us about you. Of course, I already knew all that because we've worked together in the past. And so I'm happy to have you guys part of the show today because we do have a little bit of history together. And the reason I thought of you was because you'd reached out to me a number of years ago and I was reaching out to you at the same time. It's like our emails were crossing paths. I was raising money for something and you guys were raising money for something and we ended up together helping each other. And of course, that's the heart of the Localprenuer show. So let's start with the big question. How do you guys at Mainstream make an impact in your local community?
Well, in a number of ways. One, the business itself is in the home comfort system. So we feel like that in itself does it. But with our success from that, we wanted to give back. And we always did it through Mainstream and, out of our own personal pocket. And it got to be so big, we wanted to help more people out.
Yeah.
So we formed a nonprofit, which is called Miracles for Mainstream. And we're able to help people that are in need, elderly people, people at low income, to get the new furnace or new water heater when theirs isn't working properly.
We have some partnerships with
Okay.
other not-for-profits in our area, like a program in our area called SNAP, Spokane Neighborhood Action Partnership,
Okay.
Washington Catholic Charities, some veteran based services. And that's how we vet our clients who are actually in need. Is we get those referrals. And so what Miracles from Mainstream does is we actually purchase the equipment through Miracles from Mainstream, and then our company Mainstream Home Services provides the labor.
Yeah. So Todd, during those 18 to 24 months that you were running around like a chicken with your head cut off, did you ever think that you guys wanted to make this part of your organization? Was this always in the beginning something you wanted to do, or is this something that you guys discovered later on? By the way, 18 to 24 months on your own is not long. I'm used to hearing 18 to 24 years on their own before they actually get some sense and start bringing in some help. So, man, you displayed some genius there by not going more than 24 months before you brought some help in. So, good on you for that. But was this giving back, making an impact thing always part of the vision in the beginning, or did it come later?
And I think it came a little bit later. When you have a skill like electrician, plumber, HVAC tech, there's people always asking you for, your services, and you do what you can. And the other thing is when you own a business, as you will know, you're always getting phone calls and people asking for money for their philanthropic cause, and you can only do so much.
Yeah.
But what we really thought is, back in the day when we didn't have any money, we didn't have those resources, you gave through your time and talent, and being able to help an organization out, a church or an elderly person, and just do it for free. Because let's face it, not everybody can write a check to provide that philanthropic thing. And as electricians or people in the trade, you can do it through that service. And it makes a much huger impact, I think, than just writing a check.
Absolutely.
I think our giving really took off. Probably, maybe it was when we were working with you guys. We came up with, it's not a new concept, but we called it Zap Gives Back. And because we had so much demand, that we said, okay, well, let's have not-for-profits nominate themselves, and we would put 3 up a month on the website, and they could do the work to drive traffic to our website and do the voting, and whoever got the most votes would get $500. And so I think we did that for like 6 or 8 months, and eventually that died off, and we had folks who just wanted to write the check and not do the work. And so we ran out of people to give money to. And so we did give it a break. And of course, here and there, technicians would call and say, hey, can we do a Zap Gives Back? And of course, we always said yes, until COVID came and Miracles from Mainstream came to life. And I do just want to share one story. Our very first Miracle from Mainstream came right before Thanksgiving 2 years ago. And it was an elderly woman who, before Thanksgiving, was staying warm by putting hand warmers
Wow.
in her bed at night. And so to get to go and supply an oil furnace in her mobile home, and the joy and relief in her face that somebody in the community cared enough about her is just so satisfying and gratifying. And not just for us, because we can provide that, but for our staff who gets to go and perform a miracle for Mainstream.
Yeah.
And even more recently, we had a veteran who didn't have hot water for 3 months. And then, these are things that we take for granted. And
Absolutely.
then to have the referral come in and just to see the joy in the photo on his face and to know that he gets to enjoy a hot bath is very gratifying. That's what drives us.
Absolutely. I love to see organizations put together a system and a process, because not only can you do more by doing it that way, but you also you keep yourself from getting a little burned out, and you get a little bit more traction when you do that. So Elaine, you brought up a few stories. I was going to ask you before we move on, are there any other stories, any miracles from Mainstream that have made a lasting impact on you or your team or someone else? Is there a story you like to tell everyone? Because look, I want the folks who are watching this and listening to this to have the courage to do what you've done, and they might not have the creativity or the experience that you guys have after doing it for so long. So you could be guiding them right now. Also, there could be people watching this that want to come work for you guys. So to me, it's important to get these stories out so they know who they're interviewing with and what they're signing up for, because I imagine that you don't force everyone to get involved in this at your organization, but I'm sure you encourage it. And the people that probably do the best and go the furthest on your team are probably folks that just so happen to get behind this sort of thing, because that's the heart and the soul and the vision, as far as I can tell, of Mainstream.
Oh my gosh. I want to say 2 years, probably 18 months ago, we started on a project with Family Promise of Spokane.
Yeah.
And they bought a transitional home, needed a new electrical service, which we provided. And we did have our vendor donate the products for that service change. Then we did a new water heater, as well as we did a new furnace. And they actually invited me to the ribbon cutting, and they had shared that they were able to open this transitional home 3 to 4 months sooner than they would have been able to without our help. And recently, then we also installed an air conditioner as well. And in that particular project, I love that I know we're helping families like for years to come that will come in and out of that transitional home. And that again is super satisfying, and knowing that we're helping our community in that way.
Why is that so satisfying to you guys? Why does that mean the world to you?
Oh, I have a saying, it's not what we do, it's how we make people feel that's memorable. We
That's
can't
right.
take all of this with us to the grave, but what we can do is leave a legacy of love and giving. And that's our goal. And I happen to be born and raised in this community, and Todd raised in this community as well. So it's important to both of us to be good stewards and give back.
I love that. I love the stewardship piece. And you're exactly right. I think it was even Maya Angelou said, people won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. I hope I got that quote right. I should look it up later. But, the whole premise of this podcast is I have seen a common thread in the hundreds of home service companies we've worked with over the last decade. And even before that, before Vital Storm was a thing, I did this on my own, and I worked with a handful of home service companies. And I've seen a common thread, and they all eventually get to a place where they're able to give back, but not just not peanuts. I mean, you guys are giving back in a big, big way, and it's coming from a place of genuine, heartfelt wanting to do something for the communities they live in. I think that's what's so great about local service companies is you live and shop and and go out to eat and work in the same town, and it's important to you, and now you even give back in that same town. And everyone I work with, you guys we worked with once before, and our current partners we work with today, and all those that we'll meet in the future, they all come to the table with this entrepreneurial mindset. But it's not just for building wealth. It is for generating wealth, but it's also for making an impact. And I just believe that you reap what you sow. I've always lived by that. My parents taught me that. Their parents taught them that. I've seen that principle work time and time again. And so, yes, there is that part of it where if I want to grow, I need to give a bit. But I really do see this genuine connection. And that's why we called this podcast with this terrible name, the Localprenuer Show, because you guys are generating this local impact. You're not just generating income and growing a business. You're doing that, but you're also you're giving back to your community, and you're pulling good things out of the soil that you guys work in. And I think that's amazing. The giving back piece, though, is something that you can see in other organizations, and someone looking from the outside in can see that that's something you guys do. But I think what gets missed from time to time is not only the impact you make in your community, but the impact you make on your own team. I have seen young people join teams and grow more than they would have grown if they would have chosen another path. Whether they've gone to college or gone to work in another industry, there's something about the home service industry that gives people an opportunity, and if they seize that opportunity, that it will pay off for them. I've seen plumbers and electricians come on board with one of our partners and make more money than they've ever thought possible, making six figures and still growing. And so there is huge opportunity in this industry, and there is huge opportunity working for an organization like yours that wants to make an impact in people's lives. So tell me about that when it comes to your organization and your team. There's got to be one or two or 10 people that stand out in your mind as having received a huge impact from being a part of your organization.
We have someone who's in training to be a call center manager.
Yep.
And she came here about 18 to 24 months ago. And she was making $8 an hour. And, just not super experienced on the phones. And we've just trained her along the way. And here she is going to be becoming our call center manager.
Yeah.
And she kills it. I mean,
Yep.
Everyone else maybe answers 100 calls a day, and she takes 250. Like, she's a machine. And we can see the blessings in her life as she stands taller in her self-confidence and what she's contributing to our company.
Absolutely.
And I know it's reciprocal.
Yeah. The reason I laugh when you say that, because I've heard that story so many times from partners like you, where there's someone that comes in with little experience, because they're probably not making very much money. And in a matter of a few years, they've really proven themselves. I'm telling you guys, good on them. They're working hard. But I also want to pat you on the back a little bit, because you've provided an environment, you've provided a platform for these people to come in and apply their skill, and it pay off for them. Guys, we strive to do the same thing within our agency. And because we work so hard to do so, and you guys work so hard to do so, I think it's easy for us, the founders and CEOs and owners of these organizations, to forget that this is not common. That and we survey our people as they come on. We survey them throughout the year. And anytime someone gives us positive feedback about our organization at Vital Storm, one of my first questions back to them was, how does this compare to the last place you worked? I asked that because I want to know. And I want them to also recognize that as well, that, hey, we've all been given a really great opportunity. Let's just, and like you said earlier, Elaine, let's be good stewards. Let's steward over this thing. And when you get people that are that are have had impacts made on them, and they're aware of the impact that's being made on the other people on their team, and you guys are all in communication about it, you then realize that you're a part of something bigger than yourself. And when it comes to stewarding over the business, whether you're stewarding over your seat on your team, or you're stewarding over the finances, or whatever area you're in charge of as a team member, whether you're in charge of yourself or you're in charge of a team, when everyone is bought in and they see that this is about something bigger than themselves, then they're doing more. They're protecting this thing, and they're contributing to the growth of this thing. And that's when you begin to see the exponential growth, not just in revenue, not just in trucks on the road, but you see the growth in people's heart. You see growth in people's mindset. You see growth in people's attitude. And then there you go. You've got an organization that you never dreamed of having. And it's just because at one point you decided, hey, we're going to give back, and we're going to make a difference. And so I'm proud of the organization that, whether we worked with you guys in the past, or the guys we're working with today, or whoever we'll work with in the future, I want to showcase that, because I'm proud of the work you guys do. I'm proud of the work we do. And I think that we should get the message out, not because we want to pat ourselves on the back, but because we need other organizations to witness this, so that they will then do it themselves. I have a friend who digs water wells in Africa. And I was meeting with him once, and I said, Todd, do you understand? I read something that kind of punched me in the gut. It kind of hurt a little bit. He said, tell me about it. So here's what I read. I read that if you take just within the United States. And so listen, I don't know your background. You guys don't know much of mine when it comes to faith and church and things like that. And I think you can be a giver whether you're a part of a church or not. But if you just take the number of Americans that identify as Christian, and if each one of those was to give 10% of their income, that to some people that's a ton of money, and to others it's not as much. It is a significant amount of money. If they were to do so, the stat said within a matter of just 3 to 4 years, you name the problem on planet Earth, it could get resolved. And I shared that with him, a little bit discouraged, and he looked at me and he said, man, don't be discouraged. First of all, why do we ever blame God for letting people in Africa live without water? We've got all the resources here. He said, Josh, I want to encourage you, man, that the resources are here. They're out there for us to put our hands on. We just got to be able to bring those to the people that need them. And so I want to see every organization we work with and beyond get involved in making an impact in their community by giving back, but also recognizing the deep impact they can make on their team members. So look, this is supposed to be an interview, not a lecture. I tend to talk a lot. I want to take a minute here, shut up, and see what else I can hear from you guys on this topic. So everyone who's watching will learn more about what Mainstream's doing.
Actually, the original seed of giving and being a servant came from my first year of school teaching.
Okay.
I had a room mom. Her name was Irene. And Irene's husband was in the Vietnam War and suffered from severe PST. Is it PSTD or PTSD?
PTSD. Yeah.
And anyway, they made very little income. And I had their son in my class, and that every single holiday, she had something to give to me, whether it was banana bread, pumpkin bread, cookies. And she was in my classroom every Friday working half day to a whole day, just making me look good doing all those side projects. And in fact, she ended up working in my classroom for 5 years, even when her kids weren't in my classroom. Mm-hmm. And she was a true definition of a servant, where she didn't have money to give, but she had time and talent. And that really was the seed that was planted in me, that I wanted to give back regardless of what our income level was going to be. And so there's that verse out there that says, when much is given, much is required.
Yep.
And, you know, if if our community is going to give us the pleasure and honor of being in business by using our services, we want to give back. It just is a reciprocal relationship. We can't just keep taking.
You know, Elaine, you're not obligated to think that way. You're not obligated to reward the community for allowing you to be in business. But I'm telling you, with that mindset, you'll never go wrong. And I would not be surprised that those who have that mindset somehow grow in ways that they never imagined they would grow. And they grew through times where it was uncertain if anyone was going to grow, because there's just something about generosity and there's something about the right mindset. Because you're not obligated to think the way you just said, but it's better that we do think that way, right?
And I think even this, I don't know if it's called a step, but a trait before that is to truly just love human beings. Yeah. And we have to be able to see human beings who are in need and see them with empathy and approach them with empathy. And I guess that's the first step or the first stage in looking at humanity and saying, gosh, we're so blessed and we want to give back because here's another human being that has heart. We have to have that human connection.
You know, you guys are contractors. We're an advertising agency, marketing agency. You know, this conversation is not something I would expect on a podcast by either one of us. And that's why I think that this conversation is so great. And we need to have many more of these conversations. Let me ask you guys this. Someone's watching right now and they're thinking, you know what? I started this business by myself, or I took it over from my parents, my dad. I have these dreams of growing it. And also I have a dream of being able to give back. One day when we're in the position to do so, we want to do so. What would you tell that person today who's listening?
I'd say start right now. Like, what's stopping you? Like, you have some sort of talent that you can give back to the community with. Why wait? Like, you know, just go ahead and just start giving.
And, you know, a lot of our giving isn't always through the business, right? It's not about money or it's not about the install. But I mean, I've been part of the Red Hot Mamas, a local dance group, and we've represented Idaho in George W.'s first inaugural parade. I've been part of the Blazing Divas, and I was represented Idaho, you know, in the Pearl Harbor 75th commemorative parade. So there's a lot of different volunteer things that we do and that we actively participate in our community for personal reasons too. But we know that we represent our business when we're out there, but that's not why we're out there.
Yeah, we're on the board of Explore the Trades, which is an organization that helps get young people, or anybody, not just young people, but anybody interested in the trades.
Yeah.
And to understand how to do that.
And you said it earlier, it doesn't just have to be money. It can be time, talent, or treasure. And so I love it, Todd. Get started now. There's something you can do now, especially right now. You know, we're recording this during the holiday season. I'm not quite sure when this is going to air, but, you know, there's so many opportunities during the holiday season to do so. There's opportunities every month, all throughout the year. And, you know, you guys don't have to volunteer at all the extracurricular things you do, but I'm telling you, that's the mindset that puts you in a place to see the world differently, to handle stress differently, to make plans differently. And it's no surprise that you guys are part of a healthy, growing organization because you yourselves have that mindset. And look, there's got to be some sort of magic working over there for you guys to be husband and wife and still in love with each other. And not only that, but you guys host a podcast about that topic. And so you guys, I mean, it's not just that you want to do good in business. It's that you want to do good in life. You want to leave a mark. You want to make an impact. And anyone that ever thought a plumber couldn't do so, well, think again. Anybody thought an electrician couldn't do so, think again. We make an impact no matter what we do. It's all in the how we live. And Elaine, you brought it up earlier. Just loving people and just caring about them, caring about your team members, caring about the customers that you go and see. Now, look, we all have those team members that probably ruffle our feathers. We all have those customers that we never want to see again. But at the end of the day, they're people just like us, and somebody's got to care about them. And I think we're in a position to do so. And just by doing so, it puts us in a better place.
But there's another commitment too, to being the best version of ourselves. So whether, leaders or readers, and we don't necessarily read the same books, but like I, for example, have had a Tony Robbins life coach for 5 years, and that's been an amazing journey to overcoming my own mental limitations about life, business, relationships. And I know Todd's utilized a life coach through Tony Robbins' organization as well. And so it's just constantly seeking, how do I be better today than I was yesterday?
When we showcase generosity like this, I think that people will watch and go, I want that. I want to strive to make an impact in that way. I think you guys, and just what you just said, have sort of revealed this kind of underlying secret to what it takes to be generous. And it's not just having ample time to invest, or a lot of talent to give, or a lot of money to donate. I think it also comes with a big dose of being willing to look in the mirror and say, I haven't got it all figured out. I want to be better myself. I want to grow better. And I think that we'd find a correlation between people who work on themselves and people who care about other people. And so I think that's an unexpected insight into what it takes to have an organization that makes an impact in the local community. You got to have leaders that want to grow themselves. Guys, I really appreciate y'all sharing this. I told you that we would only come on for a limited amount of time. I know you're busy. You got to get back to it. I couldn't thank you enough for being a part of the Localprenuer show. This is a new podcast that we're getting off the ground. Again, we didn't want to just launch another marketing podcast, and you guys probably didn't want to contribute to a contractor's podcast. This is something different. And I hope that this right here will also be a resource that you can invest in, that I can invest in, to also creating that flywheel of generosity. So my hope is that folks will watch this, that run a business like you, and see that you're doing it and go, hey, I can do that too. So thank you for your time. I'm going to send you guys a book. It's called The Strangest Conduit. It's a book written by Gus Antos and Mark Robinson of what used to be Milestone Electric, but now is just Milestone, because they do electrical, plumbing, HVAC, they do windows and roofing, and whatever they do, whatever can be done, they do it. And these guys are huge givers themselves. And that book is all about how that they look at their organization as that opportunity that was served up to them to steward over and make an impact. And so I'd love to send you guys each a copy of that, just as a thank you for being a part of the Localprenuer show. But Todd, Elaine, thank you guys so much. And I look forward to I think there's going to be hundreds of thousands of views on just your episode. What do you say?
I believe it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.